It's Asta. Today on Pack to Hack, we're going to talk about one of the most important things that you could bring to a hackathon, and that's joy. We're at the 2 day countdown to hopping on the startup bus from New York City to New Orleans, and it's really exciting. I'm actually going down to New York City tomorrow morning for meetup before we all hop on the bus tomorrow night that we'll all get to meet each other, and it's going to be just a really cool opportunity. So tomorrow's Pack to Hack is actually going to be live from New York City to share our last day of packing tips for the trip. So, joy, why are we talking about joy as a really important thing to take to a hackathon? Choose joy is one of my mottos in terms of if you can go about doing a thing with a smile on your face, regardless of the outcome, you're just a happier person overall. And the folks who are around you will tend to be happier as well with the experience. So, regardless of the outcome when we get to New Orleans on the startup bus or wherever your hackathon might be, the most important thing for you to do is have fun throughout that experience. It's a truly unique and great experience that you could have that's really difficult to replicate. And you really want to enjoy the pieces of it throughout the journey and be present in the moment versus only focusing on the end outcome. And if it's not achieved, being sad or disappointed from the experience. And this isn't to say that you're not competitive. I'm a super competitive person. I would love to be able to have the opportunity to present well and pitch well at the final pitching opportunities in New Orleans. But I'll also consciously think about how can we have a great time the entire time so that whether we pitch very well at the end or we have a problem with the pitch, I'll still be happy with the overall experience. Another reason for choosing joy is if you have a smile on your face, you'll tend to also bring smiles to other people's faces. And the way I'll more stay on the happy side is think about, regardless of what happens throughout the journey, things could be much worse. So, using perspective as a way to think about where you are right now and what could have happened. So, for instance, you're building an app and it's been working the whole time, and you're 6 hours away from pitching and it's no longer working. In the moment in a hackathon, that feels like the end of the world. You feel super frustrated. You're really not sure what to do. But think about what you could be dealing with instead. So, there are many things in your personal life, like illness or death, that are much worse than what you're dealing with in that moment at the hackathon. It gives me a way to think about my current frustration is not the end of the world. And the other thing in that vein is if you start to get insanely frustrated, it tends to go around your team. So, just like we were talking about, if you keep a smile on your face, the rest of your team has that smile too. If you're stuck with frustration constantly, you're probably bringing down your team as well. And you won't be able to pitch as well or even get through your problems as well if everyone starts to get pulled down into that frustration. That doesn't mean you're going to be joyful all the time or happy all the time. It's more to say, don't get stuck there so that your whole team doesn't get stuck there. I really enjoy being silly at hackathons and in general real life as well. And tend to do crazy things so that we'll all laugh about it. There was one hackathon I wore a unicorn shirt and a tutu and ran around the floor just doing silly things and ended up taking a photo with a really senior person at a company in this outfit. And it was just a crazy, hilarious experience that the tutu lit up and we all just laughed about it afterward. And it didn't have anything directly to do with my project, but it added to the experience of the hackathon that made us laugh and kept us laughing through really silly moments in the event. Another way to spread joy is to name your team something fun. So I'll tend to do hashtag team awesome because it just gives us a way to really give us a fun name to talk about. But it might be hippo pajamas or panda trees or anything else wacky that someone might go, why in the world did y'all name yourselves that? And it can, again, just a tiny thing. It doesn't take you very much effort at all that can spread joy at a hackathon. Throughout the hackathon, go try things that don't necessarily have anything to do with your idea. Many hackathons will end up with you can go take your team and take a team selfie, or you can go do little side games or fun events. It adds to team bonding, which again improves your team joy, and it just adds to a more memorable experience. And though you might not think it has anything to do with the end goal of the event, having a more well-gelled team will positively impact you being able to pitch at the end of the event. It will also make your conversations more authentic. So when you pitch, you need to be able to talk about your ideas in an engaging manner. If you're already feeling that way because you've been highly engaged with your team throughout and having a blast throughout, that comes across in your final pitch. And you can definitely tell when someone is faking that versus when a team has genuinely had that experience throughout the whole time. Another thing I do to consciously choose joy at a hackathon is only work on ideas that really speak to me. And that means sometimes saying no to things that I don't have a personal connection with. So I typically work on projects that have a social good or positively benefit a group of people. And I like those because it helps me feel that I'm doing something positive in the world. So I find that if I only work an idea that doesn't have that angle, so for instance, we're only trying to generate income and money without benefiting a population, I don't enjoy it as much. I also don't like to work on projects that could lead to inequity across a group of people. And again, and because I won't enjoy them as much, and I definitely can't pitch them as well. So when different people pitch ideas in the beginning of a hackathon, I will listen for things that, one, sounds super fun to work on, highly engaging, that a team could work together and gel and really have a blast throughout the event. But the end outcome or product will positively impact a group of people or the environment or any other causes that I care a lot about. Along with that, a professor a long time ago told me, use your powers for good, not evil. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. So in the ideation phase, I'll write down everything that comes to mind. I have a really long list in notes, and then I started culling that list between Bear and Mural. And as I work through this massive list of all ideas I could possibly pitch, I think about how many people can they help? Is this thing positively or negatively impacting society? And start asking that question of, this sounded really wicked cool. But when I started bouncing the idea back and forth with friends and with different folks I know, I started realizing there's unknown areas where you could lead to inequity, or you could lead to disadvantaging a group of people that you didn't think about. And those things then get taken off the list in terms of I won't end up going to pitch them. I also evaluate ideas for if I had to get up and pitch that at the end, this would be wicked cool to demo. Those stay on the list and go to that sounds really cool to pitch. And the ones that sound I'll take those off the list. Some of the ideas that cross my pitch list, they would make sense and you would have the ability to generate revenue with them, but they didn't speak to my heart. So when we talk about choose joy, again, I'll leave those off because if I don't get really passionate about the idea and like super into it, I won't enjoy the experience. And if I won't enjoy the experience, how am I going to convince other people to use my product or join my team to even build the product? Some of the ideas I crossed off the list didn't benefit enough people. Perhaps it was too niche of a population, and I would have a difficulty finding those people while we're out in the road and adequately getting their feedback. And then ultimately, I took this big list and got down to 6 different ideas. And I was bouncing them back and forth with my brother. And we weighed like which ideas feel more fun than others, which ideas would benefit the most people, which ideas wouldn't negatively impact a group of people, which ideas are ultimately feasible in a 3-hour time frame and could be super fun to work on, and got down to 2 ideas. And then eventually I'm working on fleshing out the final idea and getting a pitch together. And we'll talk about how to do a pitch like that in getting ready for a pitch in our conversation tomorrow. The hackathons that I've been to where I had a ridiculously fun time were always focused around choosing joy and having a great experience the entire event. One hackathon, we hosted a video game playing session where the entire 24 hours of the hackathon, you could stop by our booth and play games. And folks at first thought we were just being silly and having a great time, which would, yes, be beneficial. But 2, the whole time folks were playing the games, it was actually generating data for our products. So we had a way to both have a really fun time, but also benefit the product that we were working on. And lastly, why joy? You have more fun, you come across more authentically when you're pitching, and you'll remember the entire experience for the individual pieces that were entertaining, not just whether you won or lost the event. So for tomorrow, for Pack to Hack, we're going to talk about pitching. How can you come up with a pitch for a hackathon and ultimately pitch it in a concise way in a very short time period? We'll be live in New York, as it'll be the last day before hopping on the startup bus. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.